So good afternoon, Andy. It's great to have you on our business spotlight discussion today. And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that our viewers and our readers can actually learn from you, given your very interesting background with bid or buy and pay fast and so on. So thank you for being with us. And yeah, Andy, please, you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself to our viewers.
Thanks for having me, Bert. It's great to be here. Sure. My name's Andy Higgins. Born and bred in South Africa. I've had exposure to businesses, most in the e-commerce space around the world. And where I find myself now is MD of Bob Group, which really is the culmination of, I guess, my entire sort of career around e-commerce, which touches the space of online marketplaces, formerly Bid or Buy, which now been rebranded to Bob Shop, online payments, which in Bob Group, we a very new service called Bob Pay. And then we have a number of services in the logistics side focused on e-commerce as well.
Okay, so you make it easy for businesses and people to trade online, buy online, all of that stuff.
Exactly. Predominantly providing services to the merchant themselves to enable them provide a good service to their customers, the buyers on their websites.
Excellent. So why did you start the business?
So I was a young, naive 23-year-old, actually, if I go right back to the beginning in 1999, and I was working for a company in the sort of early stages during the e-commerce boom in London, actually, and I was just fascinated by this, by the industry, I guess. But I just thought it was amazing to be able to be sitting anywhere in the world and through a computer to be able to order something online. And so I've always been intrigued by e-commerce. But I think ultimately it goes deeper than that. I think deep down, I have a passion for entrepreneurship and for just it's kind of being a bit of an inventor and figuring out how to do things. So that's always, I think, is the foundation of why I ended up starting a business.
No, great stuff. Thank you for that. So you've told us a little bit about all the different services and so on. Why should people buy through you? Why should they make use of your services?
So I would say, if someone asked me that, it's because we make their lives easier. So there's two elements to it, and I think the primary one is the productivity. So we make it easy for people to run their businesses, and we save them time and money in the process. And then the second one is we actually believe we would save them money, especially when it comes to logistics. We're able to offer not only increased productivity, but also, if, for example, if I take the logistics side, if one of our merchants were to go directly to a courier, we think we can still provide them with very competitive pricing, when in many cases even cheaper than them going direct, just because we've been able to negotiate these bulk deals with the couriers.
Yeah. So they benefit from all your buying power and so on.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. So how did the business grow in the past couple of years?
So obviously COVID was a big event in our life, I guess. And we did see a spike during COVID, but then we saw it sort of revert back to the normal growth. But I mean, in our industry, if you take traditional retail, certainly in South Africa, it's growing in lowish single-digit percentage for traditional retail. Whereas for e-commerce, we've seen it grow more around the 30% mark year on year. So we're very privileged to be in this position where I always talk about, rising tide floats all ships. And we do get some benefit from that, where just that is a sort of general trend in the industry, that e-commerce is growing faster than most other sectors. So we get the benefit of that. But from our side, we have these 5 businesses kind of within one. So sometimes it can be very challenging. So it's almost like each one of those businesses could be a business on their own. So we've grown organically because the market has grown, but we've also grown because we've put new services and products out there. So, and then we've also done a merger. We merged, we were Africa. We did this sort of reverse merger where we merged the old Bid or Buy, and that's how we formed Bob Group. So we doubled our staff count by just doing that. So a few things collided to see us grow over the last few years quite a bit.
Okay. Obviously, online, as we read and as we see, is a huge growth area. And it really puts traditional businesses, I suppose, with lots of rent to pay at risk.
Yes, I think that is true, but I also think often people underestimate what is required to do an online business. Yes, you maybe don't have the same sort of cost base from a rental and all that point of view, but there are other costs that come in, and I think typically it's also tends to be, it depends on the exact business, but there tends to be a bit of a ramp up curve. So it's not as easy, in my opinion, to start and being profitable from day one. It does take some time to ramp up, so it comes with its different challenges. And then there's one of those also is competition is much greater. So one of the things coming into the market now is these international competitors. You look at these Chinese online retailers like Shein and Temu and AliExpress and those, and all of a sudden you're competing against them as well.
Yes, no, absolutely. And I must say, my family sometimes supports Shein, so I don't know.
No, my daughter is quite keen on shopping on Shein as well, much to my dismay sometimes, but yes.
Andy, as an employer, what has your biggest learnings been around getting the right team in place?
Yeah, I think that's key, critical, and I've been very lucky. I think there's definitely some luck that's played a role for me, where we've been very fortunate to have ended up with the right team. But I suppose, to some extent, you've got to create your own luck, and part of that, I believe, is creating the right culture. So we've been, like I say, quite lucky, but the sort of culture we have tried to create is one that's sort of, we call ourselves non-corporate. We try to attract the type of employee or person to come join us who wouldn't want to go work at a bank or insurance company, who is entrepreneurial minded, generally more like-minded, although we've also seen the benefit of having different, so we get different aspects from people from different backgrounds and different opinions and so on. So,
sorry, I suppose you need a bit of a mix of both there.
For sure. It's definitely a bit of a delicate balance as well, then managing differences of opinions on different things. But ultimately, I think if you are able to manage that, you end up with a better outcome in the end.
Yeah. So Andy, I see, I think I read on LinkedIn that you're the eternal optimist. Is that true?
Yes, I'm a very positive South African. I believe that in spite of all the challenges we have as a country, it actually creates opportunity. And I think I know for a fact that if I was in another more developed country, I don't believe I would have been able to achieve the things we have been able to, purely because there's a lot more competition and generally the opportunity is less.
Awesome. Okay. So with all this work that you do, how do you balance personal life and business life?
Not very well. I don't. It's probably one of my weaknesses for sure. I kind of tend to go through these phases where I can be totally absorbed by the work and unfortunately neglect other more personal family side of things.
Yes.
But I think I definitely have got better. And certainly what's helped is having the team that I have around me to be able to delegate to, which also is I think generally a challenge for most people who start their businesses, to be able to delegate. But so that's important, building that team and delegating, and that certainly helped. I can walk out the door for a week or 2 weeks and things definitely go on. So
Excellent.
I'm getting better.
Excellent. Yeah. So, getting those, let's call it priorities in place is great. And I know in the beginning when you build a business, there's just, you have to work. I mean, you just put in the hours. That just happens.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the, if I hear someone saying they want to start a business because they want to have more freedom or flexibility, I think that's absolutely the wrong reason to do it.
Yes.
It actually works the opposite, I think.
Absolutely true. Yeah. So when recruiting new team members, what qualities are you looking for in them?
I think it's for us first and foremost a cultural fit and a openness to learn, as opposed to having already having the skills that we need, because I think that's the easy part. If someone has that right attitude and aptitude towards learning and fits in culturally, I think the rest comes naturally. So that's first and foremost thing. We've often hired people where we don't even have a position for them. It's not something we actually thought that we should fulfill a role, but then we come across this person who we think is this amazing fit culturally and has this desire to learn and all that, and then we kind of create a position for them, and for the most part that's actually worked well for us.
Yeah. Excellent. I think we in the coaching world, we talk about a growth mindset. People need to be open to learning and
Yes,
failing forward, learning from your mistakes, I think is important.
agree.
What are some of the common misconceptions people have about running a business?
I suppose I think people often underestimate how much time it takes and
Mhm.
underestimate how much capital, probably in many cases, if I'm generalizing. So generally things take longer than you expect and take more of your time and more effort. So I think it's just, I mean, normally I think they also underestimate potentially the reward you get from it as well,
Yeah,
right? So I think they underestimate both sides, the good and the bad.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
I found that a number of people that I know, they just think, running a business, you've always got money and you also have lots of leave.
No,
And
don't
that's
think that's
not
the,
true.
yeah, from my experience. I mean, I'm going on leave tomorrow, but obviously take my laptop with me. We'll be working on I think my actual official leave days. I've got to the point now where I'm going to start losing them because I haven't taken them. So yeah, no, I think it's
Yeah,
a bit
time.
of a misnomer that.
That's a myth, yeah. So what advice would you give new business owners regarding the financial management of a business?
Financial management. So one of the things, so I come from I'm an engineer actually by trade, even though I never really practiced it. So more technical. And the one thing that I probably neglected to do earlier on than I should have was to hire good financial skills in the business. So I think once you get to a certain size, and perhaps while you're small, perhaps you could outsource that part or you get these like part-time type of
Yeah.
help in those areas.
Yes.
I think I would encourage people to do that earlier than you think you need it.
Mm.
And just if you do want to take, depends on your business, if you do want to take it to the next level where you get investment from a third party, I realized that is actually something those investors value highly as well. So if you can get those systems and processes in place early on, I believe that's going to benefit you. And when we raised money earlier on, I know the investor, we got a VC investor in, and
Yeah.
the single requirement they imposed on us was that we hire a CFO, and that was the only requirement they had.
Mm.
So yeah, so I think it is important. And at that time, I had to hire someone and pay someone more than I was getting paid, for example, to get the right person. And
Yes.
looking back on it, I believe it was worth it. Yeah.
Oh, great decision. Yeah.
As long as you get the right person, I think you could also hire the wrong person and it could backfire.
Absolutely. But you need that financial discipline and reporting
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So 5 years from now, where do you see the business?
So we set ourselves a big ambitious goal. As a leadership team in our company, we're working towards building a unicorn, a business valued at over $1 billion, which is extremely ambitious. And so that's what it's what we've got a mindset on doing and what we're working towards. We've got these 5 businesses within one. And for us, I think two of them are what I would call like startup businesses still, and 3 are more mature. I'd probably call those scale-ups. And so I think in 5 years' time, the 2 startups will hopefully be more like scale-ups, and the scale-ups might be even more mature.
Yeah.
So yeah, our focus is on consolidating those 5 that we got, because we have a risk of looking for the next bright shiny thing, and we could be tempted to add a 6th service to our sort of arsenal. And
Yeah.
I sit here now, I'm speaking to myself here more than anyone, we need to make the 5 that we've got work. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I say to my clients very often, look after the hen that lays the golden egg. Don't start up all these other things around it. And then all of a sudden, cash flow is the biggest issue.
Yep.
What is the one question that I should have asked you but didn't? And what is the answer to that?
You asked about the people, which I think is the most crucial, like probably one of the most critical things that we obviously I think sometimes don't take seriously enough. What you haven't asked about that you maybe should have, let me put myself in your shoes, is I think what do I think is the most important quality for someone in my position to have sustained to where we are now? And I think the answer to that is grit and determination. I think we underestimate how important that skill is about just being persistent and just staying the course, like
Yeah.
being sort of dog-headed, and because so many days you get disillusioned for so many reasons. And I think that the
Yes.
ability to just be persistent and just keep going, I think, is possibly one of the most important qualities to have if you're going to be running your own business. It's obviously helped by the people you surround yourself with, because they often
Yes.
help you through those difficult days. But I
Yes.
think you still need that grit and determination is most important.
Excellent. Thanks for that. And then last question, if you had a magic wand and you could spread some magic dust on your business, where would you spread that?
I would say that would be HR, the people, the management of the people. We don't have to deal with all the general HR issues, people issues,
Yeah.
because that also frustrates me. So if I could sprinkle some magic dust and make that go away, I think that would I would be a happier person.
Happier person, better person.
Yeah.
Your engineer comes out there.
Yes, that's true. So we're all different, but yes, that is my sort of. I'm also an introvert, so yeah,
Yes.
and that doesn't help.
Annie, thank you so much for the discussion. Thank you for sharing all your learnings. And yeah, I wish you all the best with your business, and may that $1 billion be very close.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you for the time.